Welcome back to the MLG versus Pro League Invitational. This is the grand finals and what looked like might be a complete steamroll after game number 3. We've got ourselves a final match. Currently, the score resides at 3-2. Right now, with Sue in the lead. We're going on to map 6, which is going to be Antigua Shipyard, and Oz must win this.
And this is a really weird map to have as map number 6 when it's on match point, because there's been arguments both for and against each race on this map. Many people say, well, this is a Protoss favored map. You can get 3 bases so easily and do your death ball push no problem. And likewise, people have been saying for Zerg, it's a Zerg-favored map. It's almost impossible to get a 4th base up, but Zerg can go Broodlord Infestor and take the center easily. So it's really going to come down to whoever has a better 3-base play, because taking 4ths are just so difficult. I actually think that as long as Oz does go for that early 3-base play and does try to do some very calm death ball-focused pushes instead of these aggressive 1 Colossus pushes, I think it's going to go into Oz's favor.
All right, well, he must win this one to stay alive and force it to a 7th game on Antigua Shipyard Game 6. Let's go ahead and get it started. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, tomorrow is the start of the MLG Fall Championship live from Dallas, Texas. Hopefully you're going to be coming down, which you'll be able to watch online as well. So many different games being covered. The return of Halo. It's going to be great. We hope you join us tomorrow. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Let's introduce our players here in the southeast position as the Blue Zerg. From the Pro League side of the MVP. Give it up for Sue.
And up in the top left corner, showcasing unusual Protoss builds in every game, and it looks like today's going to be no exception, Oz.
Today's no exception. And you know, going back to the points that you're making about Antigua, and also the point about what Oz may potentially need to do, would you say that Oz's style that he's been deploying here so far is actually, is actually perfect for a map like Antigua? Or do you think he should be a bit more reserved, like you said?
Honestly, on this map, I don't have too strong an opinion about going for a 2-base or a 1-base versus 2-base opening. I do think that, honestly, I was going to say, this pylon positioning looks kind of like he was gearing up to do a 2-base opening anyways. But Oz has shown that he does some very unusual, fast cybernetics core builds on this map that have been very effective, and it looks like Sue has gotten all those crazinesses out of his system. He's going to go back to that standard play. But Sue really just needs to do what he's been doing to perform well on this map. Oz is the one who needs to make the big adjustment.
And here comes this drone out just as the probe moves forward. Drone's going to go to the back of the mineral line, which I love. This is going to prevent the block. Oh, sneaky. Probe is sneaky. And the drone not going to give up this position quite yet, waiting for his opportunity. I think he can plan it right now. Is he just going to sneak around and take that 3rd?
That looked like it. It looks like that is going to be the play. Now, even though it is essentially equivalent to the other moves that you could do as Zerg, it's still a really nice confirmation as a Protoss player. You only have to spend 1 probe scouting. You go up here and you see this base, and you pretty much know he's not going to be going all in.
And he's only going to make, is he going to make a 2nd pair? No, only 1 pair of Zerglings. Probe finally like, yeah, I feel like I should have seen something. Let me go out here. Is he going to even check on the 3rd? No, he will actually. And there, those Zerglings going to head on over, try to take him out in the meantime. But he gets the confirmation. He knows what happened there. Not sure how it might have sneaked by, but there the natural goes down as well. And Sue is pretty much right where he wants to be for this sort of 3-base play.
Often there's a risk of having Zerglings run around the back of your base and scoop on in, but this early pylon allows Oz to wall himself in partially with his follow-up tech, his cybernetics core, etc. And especially considering that, you have scouted your opponent, no gas, triple basing. Very, very easy position to be in as Oz.
That scouting probe still trying to make its way back. But again, Oz so good with, like, as the moment that 1 probe is in danger, he's already got his 2nd one out there. It is going to be passed over by the Overlord. We've now got this 3rd up. And what's going in Queen's land? We've got the 1 queen. Do we have one making her way over there? Yeah, okay, she just made it there. So 2nd queen coming out in the main. Probably another one to follow that one up, take down to the natural. But where's Oz go from here? You know, you talked about that. He does have a pretty nice defense set up here. Probably nothing early going to come. It's going to surprise him, but it doesn't look well. We see the +1 going down, but we haven't seen his full game plan quite yet.
You know, I think Oz is going to be doing something very similar to what we saw him do in the previous game, particularly on Cloud Kingdom, where he opens with this fast gas. Ooh, that was a nice little juke by Oz, and he gets in and sees the no gas. Very relieving. There are a couple all-ins you can do off an early 3 hatchling baneling on this map is really annoying. But now Oz knows exactly what's up, and I anticipate that he'll probably actually, he could actually just go for another Nexus. Nope, no, this is the big key time. Now going to triple gas at 6 minutes, throw down a Twilight Council, and do a very similar thing that we saw on Cloud Kingdom.
And the Overlord's going to make it there just in time to kind of get a spot check on what's going on inside. Zergling going to check for the third. And any additional pylons. Not going to find much of anything. Here comes that Zealot Stalker hit force. Making its way out. Possibly poke a little bit at that third. He knows the Zerglings do not have speed. He did check originally. The gas wasn't there. There's now 2 gases inside the main, but no third or fourth quite yet. And nothing outside there. No Roach Horn quite yet. No, there's the lair. So he's going to go quick lair. Yeah. He may just choose to kind of go with that Zergling Infestor style that we saw early on, and then just go with that later Roach Horn.
A really typical play coming out, the 7-minute start on the lair. And then when the lair is about halfway done, adding on 2 more gas guys, which gives you just that right amount of gas, Marcus. The Goldilocks zone for gas consumption. And we see again Oz going for this kind of interesting fast Twilight Council for fast +2. Probably Blink going to be coming up, but I'm slightly concerned about how Roach-centric this is. This Blink fast robo play is amazing against a Ling Roaching player, but is kind of moderate against a Ling Infesting player.
Yeah, and there's the Macro Hatch with the Roach Horn in the Evo chamber, so he's choosing to go a little bit later on that than we see sometimes from the Zergs. And here we do have Oz now taking that watchtower. Look at the gateways up. There's 5 here that I see. With is that it? Yep, 5 gates, and the Robo starting to pump out those observers. But beyond that, with the lair done, we're gonna with the Roach Horn. Should get Roach speed right away. And there it is. So, I mean, we could have a big swell of units here very, very soon for the Zerg player. Already pumping out 7 Roaches, +1 missile, and a bunch of Zerglings coming out as well. Just in perfect harmony with that speed finishing up. Here comes a big attack force moving across the map.
God, Su is so on point, making sure that he always creeps up that expansion. And we see Oz only just now finishing up those gateways. Oz is going to need to build a lot of Stalkers very quickly if he wants to hold off this set of units.
Yeah, and he's just going to go in and go for it. He could just push in and pull back and then potentially, possibly try to go in for that third. I'm not sure that Oz's army really wants to attack all this, especially, are those Roaches coming out? Here they come, at least 7 of them marching up. We also see Ventral Sacks coming up, which I absolutely love.
Oh, canceled.
Oh.
Back to standard, Marcus. Tell me about your love for it.
I think it's great. I love the upgrade. I think it's awesome. I like when Zergs use it. But here we go. We got the Roaches and the Zerglings moving up, trying to find a good place to attack. They decided to just do a run-by completely. Now coming back out. Would have run by
close,
good. Yeah.
Close position, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, Oz is desperate to get up additional gateways. It's an uncomfortable spot where oh, and look at this, a Changeling almost manages to block the Immortal from coming up. But this is the uncomfortable spot where you really need to be making more units to stay alive. But what you want to be doing is adding on a lot of gateways for a big follow-up push. And Su doesn't have a ton of units, but he has just enough to keep Oz in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I mean, he is really stretching Oz thin right here. Attacking the back, there's not enough for gateways to throw down to block it off quite yet. It's still wide open. There, the third gateway goes down. So finally, Oz has himself a wall. But with just the single cannon and these Roaches here, he's going to take one down, no problem. Possibly even a second one. No, he sends 2 Zerglings up into the main. He's going to get a good scout at exactly what's going on.
Marcus, a double expand from Su as he transitions into late Mutalisks. This is going to completely catch Oz off guard. He does have a lot of gateways up. This will provide him enough to be able to warp in all over the place, to be able to get those stalkers in there, but he's going to suffer some massive, massive damage.
Oh my gosh, there are already so many mutas out right now too. 13 is, we saw the Spire going down, but he definitely was pooling gas to get this up, and here we go, the attack. Now keep in mind, the attack's going to bring all those units up, and that gives him the opportunity to counterattack at that third. Probes are on the run now. There's only a single cannon here at the natural, and he can take it out if he wants. More coming in. There's a big fight in the middle as well.
Oh, this is not really going to go well for Oz in any front. The Mutalisks are still managing to evade these Blink Stalkers at the back. The third base is now under a little bit of a threat, but God, how do you position yourself as Oz?
Well, God, I don't even know. I mean, he's spread out quite thin yet again. I mean, he's taken the forward position. We've got a lot of Overlords here that are going to get picked off. I don't know that Su can actually defend this middle base if he loses control here of the middle ground, but what is our muta count at right now? Sitting at 16. I think he can go back in for another run. No pylons are put down inside the main, or excuse me, no cannons in the main at the natural, and at the third, like, he's still pretty susceptible to damage from those Mutalisks if he decides to continue that harass.
Oz is just trying to reposition himself so that way he forms a big wall in the middle of the map that the Mutalisks cannot cross, and right now Oz has successfully done that. The Mutalisks trying to sprint up to the third base are going to run into some big issues, but oh, they managed to break through this wall and they're heading up to the main side, and now it looks like Oz trying to pick off the expansion. I mean, Oz is just being pulled in every direction.
And here we go. We got a few units coming up from the back, but he knows that he cannot really commit to that. Once again, we see, oh, there's the combination of the mutas and the lings now going. If he could keep those lings out, he could still go into the main and go for an attack. I don't think he's got a warp in available right now. Blink is there, but a lot of little skirmishes all around as we see the Zergling packs thrown at the Protoss. It's not really killing anything, but it's keeping these groups of units busy.
This is just such an exciting potential final game here, Marcus. Oz now taking down this hatchery in the center. Oh, a couple of Stalkers getting caught off guard. Does Oz blink up to the high ground? Does he fight here? He does have some Stalkers up there, and yes, he does do it. But does that leave his third vulnerable? It leaves that set of units in the middle vulnerable, and now we see Oz surrounding it with all his units.
God, just absolutely amazing, peeling those units away. There were so many Stalkers that were focused intensely on these Mutalisks, but the Zergling pack's really the key star to this game. The Mutalisks just kind of being the quarterback calling the plays, and now he's going in for it with the support of the Roaches. Could this be it? Could Su actually win the MVP finals right here? The Stalker count is just, it's dropping like flies right now.
I mean, Oz can only morph in Stalkers. There's just too much variety of units being thrown at him. The 5-base terror, Su relying on all his gas, shoving more and more Mutalisks down his throat, and there's the GG! Unbelievable, Su! Barely managing to qualify for the playoffs, had to play through round-robin tiebreakers to get the last spot position, then took down Baby, and then Flash, and then Soul Key, and here against Oz manages to show that he has an incredible playstyle in all three matchups.
And over almost 1,100 games played in the MLG versus Pro League Invitational, it is a Pro League player that comes out on top. And I got to be honest, like, in addition to the $10,000, which is pretty awesome because he takes it all and Oz doesn't get a cent, is that it sets up an era and an all-new set of storylines going into the MLG Fall Championship, because Pro League players are going to be here, including that guy right there.
Hey, Marcus.
Hey, what?
When is the MLG Dallas Championship?
That's a great question. As always, the pregame show going to be kicking off at 5 o'clock Central Time. That's also Dallas time, so you better be here Friday, November 2nd, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Be here with us
tomorrow.
To kick it off. Tomorrow.
Frickin' tomorrow. For you in other time zones, that is 3 p.m. Pacific. That's going to be
6 p.m. EST.
I'm trying to do this for Europe. It's going to be midnight in Europe. If you are in Europe, if you are in England, that will be 11 p.m. Please show up and just cheer. Just the gift of your eyeballs for these players. I'm actually going to go ahead and get a list of some of the players who are going to be playing in the Dallas Championship tomorrow. But Marcus, tell us a little bit more about Sue's just phenomenal play in the MVP
absolutely, and that's
Invitational.
kind of where I wanted to take it. You get that ready. I mean, Sue, I think, impressed a lot of people throughout the playoff games, maybe not so much in the group stages, but really where it counted. You mentioned the Titans that he went through to make it to this finals match versus Oz, but to seal the deal with an initial 3-game wins at the front of the finals and then hold on to grab that 4th game, that $10,000 was very much deserved by Sue. And I'm excited to see what Sue's going to do here at the MLG Fall Championship.
And you know, just as at the release of StarCraft 2, there were the big names from the previous games, Warcraft 3 and Brood War, who was going to come out on top, and there were the popular ones from the previous era, and then there were the ones who showed their talent and shone through, and that's what's so exciting about the Pro League players having recently switched over. We get the same feel. Jaedong, Flash, Effort fans were excited to see those players in the top 8, but Sue surging through, Solkey and Sue being the top 2 Pro League players, so impressive. And tomorrow, some of the players you're going to see: Leenock, Oz, Hiva, Hero, Naniwa, Baby Knight, Grubby versus Flash.
Grubby versus Flash.
Oh,
Can we just stop for a second? One of the best Warcraft 3 players to ever play the game versus one of the best Brood War players to ever play the game. Make the setting StarCraft 2. Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
We have Violet, Major, Life, Revival, Soulkey, Taja. Bomber versus Scarlet is going to be tomorrow. Sue goes up against Daisy. I mean, the quality of players is astounding, and those are just the invites. Notable players in the open bracket. You have pretty much any player from any foreign team. Team Liquid, EG, and of course SK Telecom's Rain, reputed to be the current best player in the world.
Yeah, and I'm excited. That's all going to kick off tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time for the MLG Fall Championships. Thank you for joining us throughout the entire duration of the MVP Invitational, and my shout-outs go to axeltoss and axslav, who could not be here for the finals, but they should be here this weekend. Send them your love. Thanks to all the MLG staff and all the producers here, everyone working on the stream tonight. We'll see you this weekend for the MLG Fall Championship. I'm DJ Wheat.
I'm Day 9. Hope to see you tomorrow when the huge action is going to kick off again.